Direct from Austin, coast to coast, and in your face. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me now go ahead and get into Psychology Today, as I promised that I would do. And I'll get my guys to zoom in here while I'm talking so people that are watching at prisonplanet.tv, not just listening to the radio, can actually see this. Here's Psychology Today. This guy called me back in, I was like 3 months ago. So I guess May or so. But he calls me and he says, oh, interesting phenomenon about your show. We're interested in it. And I said, this is a hit piece to say I'm a schizophrenic. And he said, no, but that's, paranoid, like a schizophrenic. And I said, well, no. I mean, the standard thing in the Soviet Russia, Nazi Germany, Communist China, and even here in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right up to the 80s, was you would take poor families' kids and sterilize them. And if they complained, you'd lobotomize them. And then he laughed and said, we didn't do that. So I sent him links to public lobotomies where they would stick an ice pick through the corner of the eye back into the brain. And he would then laugh about that and deny it. And I told him about psychiatry used by Hitler, and he'd laugh at that. And I told him about eugenics, and he would laugh at that. And I'd tell him about population control and UN documents, and I'd give him links, and he'd laugh about that. And he'd list a document that we listed that calls for using food as a weapon and starvation and sterilization. And he just says he doesn't say the document doesn't say that. He just says it was a boring policy report. And what they are is they're control freak yuppies mainly who statistically have the highest mental illness rate and the highest suicide rate of any profession. They're always caught raping their patients. It's not a real medical system, either psychiatrist or psychologist. They just prance around drugging everybody. They've got hundreds of new designations the last few years, many of them for... if you don't trust the government, it's a mental illness. And they say that in this article. They say that, well, chemical imbalance in the brain makes you not trust the government, and that it leads to schizophrenia, and that they know that that's certain chemical in the brain. And they're talking about me. They didn't test my blood. They didn't test the dopamine levels in my brain. They didn't do a biopsy. They didn't do they just make this up. I mean, I'm here with the articles, with the textbooks. It's the same game, though. They know it's all real. I mean, we sent them the government documents. It's just like the White House saying, we don't want national compulsory service. We don't want forced youth brigades. It's all conspiracy theorists. Media Matters and George Soros attack me. Daily Costs, all these Think Progress, all these government-run groups. And then the president's going to address the school kids and ask for their help. And they got city year in red and black uniforms and secure corps training with M16s to, quote, take on right-wing extremists. And you've got Van Jones saying we're going to incrementally take over for total redistribution of wealth from the White House. And we've got Al Gore. You can just Google it and you'll pull up him at a town hall at a middle school telling the kids, your parents' belief are wrong. It's like racism before. It was young people that fought racism. They always mix that in. Climate change is real. I mean, they introduced legislation that says national compulsory service. Rahm Emanuel's on tape saying it. But they'll just laugh and say it doesn't exist. You're schizophrenic. But this isn't working anymore. People are seeing through it. You have this profession of witch doctors from 150 years ago, founded in Germany, because the Prussians wanted to literally have mind control slaves for the military. That's on record. Kindergarten, all of it was designed for this, our whole current system. And this is history. And look at the first page of Psychology Today. It's this psychotropic drug where this woman's a wind-up toy. I've seen the TV ads for this. And when she takes the drug, she's suddenly a smiling, happy zombie now. And it's got the drug over here. And, they have to go on and admit, it increases suicide risk. And then you flip in some more, and they've got some more drug ads. And, again, these are the high priests that are going to teach you to be okay. And they're going to explain to you how the universe works. And you've got Amplify, that's a drug that you take for the other psychotropics that cause your psychotic break. And then they've got a thing about old world order, 9/11, and it's all about being trendy and how to get women and how your brain works. I mean, this is like for control freaks. And it's got all these ads. You'll be a psychologist. You can make lots of money doing it. And they've got other ads here for drugs and how great atheism is. And it's just amazing. And then you get to this page, page 36, and it's a 2-page drug ad, 35 and 36. Now, if I was talking to this psychologist and brought this up, he would just not say anything, or he'd laugh. And I'd go, does that ad exist? And he would just giggle and say, oh, you're upset. Are you having a moment? I mean, this is just a mind game. These are just scam artists. I mean, it's a joke. But they find weak-minded people. They prey on the kids in the schools. The New Freedom Initiative, government's own documents, that got leaked in 2005, said that their plan is to put half the school kids on drugs, that New Freedom is about diagnosing basically everyone as mentally ill. And then it says right here, Lamictal, ODT, this is like a candy. It tastes good and dissolves in the mouth, they say. It's a psychotropic. May cause suicidal thoughts or actions in very small number of people, 1 in 500, a lot higher than that. Studies actually show. Call a healthcare provider right away if you have worsening depression, any unusual changes in mood or behavior, or thoughts of actions about suicide. And you actually read the full insert. I mean, it's delusions of grandeur, psychotic breaks, wanting to murder people. Now, and it goes over to the next page with even more of the horrible effects, just scores of them, just absolutely horrible. This is like jumping off a cliff. Now, they know that when you take these drugs, you're going to have more mental problems. And the average person that goes on one ends up on 4 at a time on average. And remember, when they have foster kids under their control, 68 to 69% national average they put on the drugs. Now, I mean, is that normal to put 69% of people on drugs? And then it says dark minds, and it says, I didn't have any friends in high school, and I was didn't want to give them friends' names or family's phone number. Like I'm a liar, that my family doesn't want to talk to them, or I wouldn't have my friends. The guy said it wasn't a hit piece. Right away it was. And I said to the guy, I said, I wouldn't put my friends or family on the phone with you, knowing that you lied and this is a hit piece. But he doesn't say what I said. He just says Alex didn't have friends. So it's all about being popular. See, but through him, the priest, I can find enlightenment. And I'm not in a junior high argument. It's actually embarrassing how popular I was. It's actually embarrassing the way I was in high school. I mean, I really cleaned up the last year or so and got straight A's and got out of there. But I mean, it was, the cheerleaders and drinking and fighting and having a great time and camping and it was a giant party. I mean, but the point is it doesn't matter. That isn't for me. That's for the weak-minded, mainly women that read this. Oh, look, Alex Jones isn't cool. I mean, it's just total junior high mentality. And it's just lie after lie. And they quote Lewis Black of the Chronicle, who's always made up stuff about me. This is a guy who writes full-page editorials in his own rag paper, with stories in between the porno shop ads, that says that Sintra is not Spanish-owned. Just totally has disdain and contempt for his readers. Thinks they're complete morons. We're all conspiracy theorists to some degree. We're all hardwired to find patterns of threat. And it says information is the conspiracy theorist's weapon of choice because if there's one thing they all agree on, it's that all the rest of us have been brainwashed. The facts will plainly reveal the existence of conspiracy, they believe. And while look at Blackwater with rape rooms and murdering people. We said that and got called conspiracy theorists. Cheney wanting to stage terror attacks, now declassified. We were called conspiracy theorists. We said the NSA was spying on everybody. Now that's declassified. We said Obama's setting up youth brigades. Now it's admitted. I mean, we're right about everything. We go off the documents. All Oh, while all of us tend to bend information to fit our pre-existing cognitive scheme, oh, everybody bends information. No, sir. Conspiracy theorists are more extreme. They are immune to evidence. Really, you're the one that's immune to evidence. Disconnecting contradictory information or seeing it as proof of how clever the enemy is at covering things up. Conspiracy theorists exist on a spectrum from mild suspicion to full of paranoia, and brain chemistry may play a role.